Hey everyone, and welcome to my morning routine to help you release tension in your body and set yourself up to have a really good day. So this practice is aimed at really releasing the tension that's built up from your shoulders and your hips from when you sleep. This is a beginner practice, so you don't need any props, but if you like to use them and you have them, feel free. You can do these poses and these stretches in any order or add anything that feels good for you that I might not do. And if anything I do doesn't work for you, know that you can always modify the pose or just take it out if it doesn't work. I'm not going to hold these stretches as long as I would in my own practice. It takes about 20 to 25 minutes to do it in the morning. But just in the interest of time, I just want to give y'all a taste of what you can do in the morning for yourself to really loosen up your body and get moving. So let's begin. I like to start on my shins with my toes curled under, sitting up straight, and just taking 3 deep breaths and committing this time for myself in the morning. Maybe doing some shoulder rolls if that feels good. And coming into a seated position, whatever feels comfortable for you. For me, that's cross-legged. And just taking the fingertips to the shoulders. And we're gonna do a big circle with our elbows. So bringing it in and up over your head, expanding through the chest, and carving a line down your back with the elbows. And just doing that a couple of times. Making sure that you're breathing and really expanding through this part of your body. Making sure that you're not scrunching up your shoulders towards your ears, keeping them down. And when you feel ready, floating your fingertips down to the mat and placing them a little bit behind your butt. And just dropping one ear to a shoulder. Moving your head forward or back a little bit if that feels good, or just staying in place. Again, making sure the shoulders aren't hunching up. And then switch to the other side. Now I usually hold this pose for at least a minute or two on each side, just because my neck is so tight. So do whatever amount of time works for you. And this is going to be a really good one for anyone who sits at a desk all day or doesn't have a super active lifestyle. And releasing that, just kind of shaking it out. Next, we're going to take a couple nose circles or neck circles. So just starting small in one direction. Drawing a circle with your nose, getting bigger. And then reversing. And getting smaller. Great. We're going to come on to all fours, so in tabletop pose. So in tabletop, you want to have your shoulder and wrists aligned and your hips and your knees. So we're just going to take a couple cat-cows. So inhaling, dropping the belly to the floor and looking up. And reversing that motion, tucking the tailbone under and looking towards your feet. And this is where I really start to connect with my breath here, connecting breath and movement. So make sure that you're breathing. And just flowing through this as many times as feels good. And I actually roll right into spinal circles right after cat-cow. So it looks really funny, but it feels good. It helps to loosen the side body. So we're going to start in cow. So drop the belly, look up. And then you're just going to rotate your pelvis in a circle. Really getting into the side of your body and the side of your hips. And then you can reverse the motion when you're ready. Making sure you're breathing. That one always feels really good in the morning. We're gonna go into down dog next. So plant your hands, claw into the fingers, tuck your toes under, and lift your chest up and back. And if you have really tight hamstrings or calves, your down dog might look like this or like this. You might want to widen your stance or pedal out the feet. Just do whatever feels good and whatever way you can get the best stretch. Here I usually stay for a minute or two. But when I'm done kind of stretching out the hamstrings and the calves, come down to your knees and keep your feet together, your toes together, and widen your knees to the outside of the mat. Now, if you have really tight hips, this might feel uncomfortable. You can always put your knees in towards each other a little bit to lessen the intensity of this, or you can always stay lifted through the chest. But I'm gonna go as wide as the mat, and I'm gonna walk my hands out, stretching through the back, and rest my forehead on the mat. Making sure you're breathing from the belly. And when you're ready, coming up, back to tabletop. And we're gonna do a side body stretch next. So extend your right leg out, push into your heel, and then you're gonna cross your right leg over the left towards the outside of the mat. So up and over, and then you're gonna look over your left shoulder. Make sure you're not collapsing in the belly here. Keep your back straight. And this is really gonna open up this whole area, the side of the hip, the TFL. And then coming back to tabletop, we'll take the other side. So extend your left leg, push into the left heel, and then cross it over that right foot towards the edge of the mat. Look over your right shoulder. Remember to breathe. If this gets too intense, you can always just look forward or bring the foot in closer. Coming back to tabletop, we're gonna take a regular child's pose, so feet together, knees together, and just sit back on your heels and really lengthen out of your lower back. So long spine, rest your head down on the mat, or you can stay lifted. And we're gonna come forward into Sphinx pose. So just use your glutes and your hamstrings to push yourself up and forward. We're gonna come onto your belly first. Now, if you have lower back issues, this one might exacerbate your back pain. So if it hurts, please don't do it. Just skip this one. So you wanna put your elbows in line with your shoulders, hands down on the floor, and just lift up out of the back. Make sure that your hips stay on the ground for this one. And we're just stretching out the abdominal muscles here. And to come out of this, just go back down on your belly. And I like to push back into child's pose one more time, just to stretch out any tension. All right, we're gonna come up to tabletop and then come into a seated position. So we're gonna stretch out the hips now. You wanna keep your left leg bent, foot in, and then you're gonna take your right leg and cross it over the left knee. If you're already feeling a stretch here in the glute, in the hip, the side of the leg, you can stay here. If you want more, you can also take a spinal twist, which is super good for digestion. And you can take your left elbow over the right knee and take your other hand down to the mat and kind of push away from that knee. This is a super intense pose for those of us with tight hips. So you can work up to doing this, or if there's another hip opening pose that works for you, like happy baby or pigeon pose, you can always substitute those in. I usually hold this one for a couple minutes too, but just in the interest of time, we'll take it to the other side. So you can help guide your leg back over. And before we take it to the other side, we're going to extend the right leg and just get a little hamstring stretch in here. You can also choose to do a side body stretch here. So turning your shoulder up and looking up to the ceiling. And coming back up, we'll take it to the other side. So switching your legs, right leg in, guiding your left leg over the right knee. Lengthening up through the spine, staying tall. If this is good for you, stay here. If not, you want more, you can take your right elbow, left knee, and other hand down. And really push into that knee. Make sure you're staying lifted through the spine the whole time. You don't want to collapse in, you want to stay long. And to come out of it, guide the left foot out straight. We'll take that hamstring stretch on the same side. So reach for that toe. If you want to add a side body stretch, you can lift your arm up and roll the shoulder back, looking to the ceiling. If this hurts your neck, but you still want the side body stretch, just roll your shoulder back and just keep looking at the mat or at your toes. And coming back up. So the last one we're gonna do is we're gonna open the hip flexors. So you can come into tabletop, and you're gonna extend your right leg out and push your hips down so that your left butt cheek is sitting right on your left heel. And you can walk your hands in and just kind of extend out through the crown of your head. You really want to actively push into that right foot. Keep pushing it back towards the ceiling. And you can also push your right hip down. If this is too much, feel free to keep your arms out like this, just so that you're feeling a stretch in the hamstring, or not in the hamstring, in the hip flexor. And then we'll switch to the other side. So walk your hands in, push up, and switch. So extend your left leg, push into that heel, push your left hip down. And then you can choose to stay here or walk your hands in and extend up towards the ceiling. And coming back out of it slowly, and coming back to a seated position. That was the fourth time I've done this today, so my body feels super loose. I hope that this has helped y'all to start your day off more relaxed, more open, especially in the chest area. A lot of times when we sleep, we collapse in, so it's really nice to open that area up right in the morning. It really sets you up to have a more peaceful, relaxed, pain-free day. So I hope this was helpful, and thanks for watching.